My name is Sarah.
Hi, my name is Camelia.
And today we're going to show you how to make something cool.
Yes, super cool. We're making stuffed animals today, and I want to show you the bunny that I made. It's pretty cute, isn't it?
Alright, what we'll need today is a needle and thread. We like to use these blunt embroidery needles that you can find at craft stores or Walmart, places like that. They're blunt on the end so kids won't stab themselves with them, and the eyes are fairly large and easy to thread. We'll also be using embroidery thread, which is easy to find in a whole bunch of different colors. And then we'll be decorating our animals with pom-poms, and I even have a jar full of felted shapes here in different sizes and circles, kind of weird smiley face shapes. There's even some cutout like bunny faces and also triangles. You'll also need a set of knitted gloves. These are one size fits all adult size, and they stretch to be quite big, so as you can see they're about my size, and a pair of scissors. You'll also need a couple handfuls worth of stuffing and googly eyes, and then we're also using, in order to make the face a little easier to assemble, is we're having an adult put together, hot glue the face on, so the child will just arrange the face and then the adult will hot glue it on. So you'll also need a hot glue gun and obviously hot glue sticks. Okay, so first we're gonna make a bunny, and the first thing we do is we have to poke in the fingers that we don't want to use. So if we're gonna make a bunny like Camelia just showed us, we're gonna have to tuck in these two fingers and the thumb to make that shape. So all you have to do is you just kind of peel it apart, the two sides of the finger, and stick it in, almost like when you get your mittens on the wrong way. Shove both of those in so they're kind of on the wrong side there. See how they're both shoved in? And then also the thumb. The thumb's a little harder because when we get to sewing it closed to make our shape, we want to make sure that it's flat and not poking out like this. We want to make sure it's more flat like this.
Yeah, just like the octopus.
Okay, so this is a bunny. We did this project with our Girl Scout troop, and that's kindergarten through 3rd or 2nd graders. So there was a wide variety of ages that did this, and they really loved it. So it's a fun, easy take-home project, and it shouldn't take you more than an hour, even with a large group of children. So the first thing you need to do that's really gonna help them is to make the initial knot. And actually I'm gonna do it over here. That way I can kind of cheat later, and when she gets to the end, then I can tuck the thread through and start at the thumb without ever having to cut it off and retie it. Cami doesn't like the idea of cheating. So all you do is you do a basic square knot. You can even teach some of the older kids how to make a square knot. Make an X, loop the tail through, pull tight, make an X again, loop it through, and oops, and pull tight. So don't worry about the tail that's hanging off the edge there. And from here, Cami's pretty good at sewing here, so she's gonna show us how to sew it. So see how our fingers are still in? The best way to show kids how to sew, just basic whip stitch, is to always start from the top and go to the bottom. So she's gonna start at the top, go to the bottom, and pull it through. Not going to catch any of our fingers that are already on there. Okay, go to the next thread stitch, go from the top to the bottom, and pull it through. Okay, we're going to get a little closer to the camera this time so you can see. Start at, well, you want to start a little further down than that, Cami, because we already did stitch right there. Okay, we'll have her do one more here. Start at the top, push to the bottom, and pull through. So the nice thing about doing it with the knitted mittens is that you don't need a sharp needle like you would with fabric, because the knitted mittens kind of have gaps and holes here and there just naturally as part of the knitting process. and so it's easy to get blunt needles through.
Yeah, and I'm also a Daisy, and you won't believe it, Daisies can do this.
Daisy Girl Scout. See, so Cami's doing it pretty easily. I think a lot in just teaching large groups of children to sew is getting them started right off the bat and showing them an example of what it's going to look like, and also to just kind of supervise, make sure that they're getting the hang of it, and if they're not, be prepared to help them. Okay, so once we get to the end here, we can just kind of shove it in between, like almost as if our two knitted pieces are a sandwich. So I'm not going through to the other side, I'm slipping the needle through both pieces of fabric, and I'm gonna end out here where my thumb starts, and we'll start sewing there. That way you eliminate the need to tie another knot, cut it off, and then tie another knot over here. So we don't have to tie any knots, we're just gonna start sewing our thumb closed. So remember, the thumb is kind of the tricky part. You can always leave the thumb out a tiny bit to leave for a tail, or you can use pom-pom later to do that. You just want to make sure that your thumb isn't sticking out like that. You want it to be nice and tucked in. And a lot of what helps younger kids to sew is if you hold it for them and help them get the stitches through. So can you want to start our
I mean, have to cut it.
sewing their thumb? Nope, you can just start right there.
Top to bottom.
Awesome.
Top to bottom. Top to bottom.
Next thing we're going to do is stuff our bunny. And when you first get your stuffing in there, if you want floppy ears, leave it. And if you don't, be sure and use your thumb or a chopstick to shove a little bit of stuffing up in the ears. So once the ears are stuffed, it's a little easier to get the rest of the body stuffed. Cami, you want to throw some stuffing in there?
Sure. I absolutely will.
Okay, once you have it stuffed to where you want it, kind of smush them around until it's nice and even. So next we're going to sew together the very bottom of our bunny so that the stuffing doesn't fall out. So it helps if you have a buddy kind of hold it closed for you while you do the sewing. Camille, would you like to sew the bunny closed?
Yeah.
Okay, here's your needle. And remember, we go, you're okay, go from top to bottom.
It's hard to do this once you're a kid. Just kidding.
Okay. Perfect. Top to bottom, pull it through.
That's right. Just like I said earlier.
So the best part about a project like this is that really the child is doing all the sewing themselves. So then they get to feel extra proud that they assembled this whole thing. Keep your stitches a little closer together, otherwise stuffing's gonna fall out. Last couple stitches there.
Okay. Maybe 3 more would be good. Maybe 2 more would be good.
Remember not to pull the end of the needle too far, otherwise your tail's gonna come off and you'll have to re-thread it.
Just like you did right now.
Okay, now for the last stitch, it's alright to just put a quick little knot in the bottom, and then we'll cut it all off and you won't have to look at it. So Cami is gonna come up with a little face for our bunny so we can hot glue it on. Okay, so I'm gonna hold Cami's bunny still, and she's gonna put the face on top of the knitted thing how she wants, and then I will go over and hot glue it for her.
This is a one that we just made. It's really fast, and I'm making it for my grandma, and she'll probably love it. And it's gonna have a little blue pom-pom on it, just like this one, since it has a red pom-pom on it. And I also want to show you the ones I made when it was Girl Scout